These brooders are amazing. I couldn't be happier with this company.
We absolutely love these cages.
One at a time, okay, guys?
Hey guys, how you doing tonight? Welcome to another Coturnix Corner Live. I am glad we got a few people in here, so I'm glad a few of you could join us tonight. For those of you who are wondering if I was even going to make it tonight, you'd have been right if you said probably not, because I was working out in the quail room all day today, and I thought today was Monday, and me and my wife had to run up to the store to get some dog food and whatnot. And she asked me if I was going live tonight. And I'm like, no, tonight's Monday. And she said, no, today's Tuesday. I'm like, sure enough, it's Tuesday. So here we are. We're going live. And I don't know how long I'm going to last. It's been a really busy day. I've been working out in the shop all day long, sorting birds, moving birds. We're going to remodel the entire shop. We're knocking down one wall to give us an extra 140 square feet of cage space, so that's going to be really nice. But I did want to get in here, and check in with you guys and bring you up to date on what's going on. We don't have a topic tonight or a guest, so I'm just going to go ahead and kind of read off the announcements. We'll jump into the chat room for a little bit and then see where it goes from there. But first off, let me acknowledge our sponsors, Southwest Game Birds and Hatching Time. Both these companies do a lot for the channel as far as giving us prizes and whatnot to give away. Hatching Time gives us a $50 gift certificate every week to give away, which we will be giving one away tonight. And I don't think we're probably going to start doing the hatching egg giveaways again on the next live stream. And I'll tell you why in a second. But if anybody can use a Hatching Time gift certificate, just comment over in the chat room, Hatching Time. If I've already given you one, please don't comment. I kind of got to get some of the people that haven't got one yet, so I would appreciate that. But what was I saying? Oh, upcoming lives. For those of you who don't know about our Morning Musings Live, we do it every Sunday. It's 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For the most part, I try to make them every Sunday. There will be weeks where I can't make it. But I had a talk, when was it? Was it last night or Sunday night? Because we did Morning Musings PM edition because I missed the morning. So we did it later on that evening. And we kind of polled the people in the chat room and thought what would be a good topic for a live stream, and we had a few people say that they would like to know the differences between keeping quail indoors versus keeping them outdoors, benefits and whatnot. So I thought that would be a good topic. So I thought about it a little bit last night, and this morning I got up and I got a hold of Chris Carnes from Slightly Redneck, and Chris agreed to come on the show. We're going to try to set it up for this Sunday on the Morning Musings, which will be this upcoming Sunday, and because Chris keeps all his birds outside, so he can go ahead and speak on the benefits of keeping them outdoors and whatnot, what he's got to do to keep them outdoors, and then compared to the way I keep them indoors, inside a quail room. So that'll be an interesting live. I told Chris I'd get back with him towards the end of this week and, set a definite, but it looks like it might be this Sunday. So keep an eye out, and I'll let you guys know for sure on that one. But that ought to be really interesting because Chris, he's a good character. I like Chris. He's been on the live streams a couple times before. He's a good guy. Let's see, what else do we got going on here? Upcoming Coturnix Kids Project. We will be announcing the winner of the Coturnix Kids Project on a week from today. I don't know what that date falls on. Probably like October 3rd or 2nd or somewhere around there. But anyhow, it'll be a week from today. We'll be announcing the winner of the Coturnix Kids Live program. And for those of you who are not familiar with that, the Coturnix Kids Project is a program that we have set up over on the Coturnix Corner community, where you could enter your kids, or your kids could enter the program. And basically what they do is come up with a project that they can do that will benefit someone else, whether it's family, neighbors, whoever. And they do stuff, and it's really cool. Some of the stuff that these kids think of to come up with and do out of the kindness of their heart. And what they do is they submit a little story to us, telling us what they did and how they did it and whatnot. And they submit pictures and or videos, and then we select. We actually have a team over on the Coturnix Corner community website, which is coturnixcorner.com, and they keep an eye on all the incoming submissions, and once a month they'll select a winner for that, and we'll bring them on the live stream the following week. So looking forward to that. As far as what the kids get, we have it's been so long since I've used this thing. I think this is it. We do have some sponsors lined up that give prizes every month to the kids. Homestead Harvest gives a 40-pound bag of starter feed to get them going. Hatching Time sends them out a 2-unit layer rollout cage with the feeders, water, and everything. Thieving Otter Farm gives us some hatching eggs. Bryant's Roost supplies a incubator. Coturnix Corner, we give them a Coturnix Kids tumbler that we make for them. And the Coturnix Corner community buys a Tractor Supply gift certificate to help get them started. And then Sunny Place Homestead supplies with a water bottle, or a water and a feeder, and some quail egg scissors. So we got some really neat, prizes that the kids can win. So if you have, kids that are interested in quail, or you want to kind of, get them rolling along with quail, this is a good opportunity for them to, get involved, a little bit that way. Speaking of the tumblers that we give away, guys, I got a whole bunch of tumblers. I have an actual whole case that came in. What I'm doing is making up business tumblers. If you guys have a quail business, now granted this is my practice tumbler, I use it for doing practices, but if you were wanting to put your, let me see if I can get that to focus. Oh, where is it? Well, you can see, like right there is AJ Farms LLC. Then we've got Redmond Hill Farms on this side, and we got Double R Ranch on this side here. I wish that would focus in on that. But if you wanted to get a tumbler made up, or tumblers made up with your business logo on them, you can sell them, through your website if you're doing that kind of stuff. Or if you just want one just for your business, get a hold of me, or visit GulfCoastQuail.com. There is a link in the shop over there to where you can order the tumblers. But they're going to be they're $20 a piece to do a special logo, plus the shipping to get it to you guys. And the shipping's pretty cheap. It's like $5. This is one that I did for Bree Pats. This is actually a practice tumbler. This one's a little bit bigger. It's for the American Coturnix Breeders Association. Bree's already got one on the way to her. We sent that out last week. So I think that's about it. I did want to plug these guys. This is it's called a Quail Pop, and it's made by Kenny Tarpley of Foggy Forest Farms. He sent me this one. This is actually the second one I had. I had one of the first models that he ever sent out, and I broke it. It was my fault. I got mine attached to the side of my aviary, which is where I do most of my butchering. And I was working the bees one day, and I backed up, and I couldn't see it, and I fell into it and kind of snapped it off at the weld points. But Kenny was kind enough to send me out another one. But let's see. I think I have. Let me pull up this page over here. You can either order them on Etsy or if you on Coturnix Corner. If you look up Kenny Tarpley, actually, I believe he's posting. You guys can order it through there. You know, if you're into it. I can say that if you like to dispatch your quail with the head on, you know, leaving the head on instead of, you know, snipping it off like I normally do, this is great, and it's good for, like, you know, people that want to buy, you know, feeder quail, you know, feeding reptiles and whatnot. You can actually decap with this thing too. If you pull hard enough, you pop the head right off. But the nice thing about them, it's cervical dislocation. So the quail is, with a little bitty pop, they're basically put to sleep almost instantly. So there you go, Kenny. There's your plug for tonight. Cool. Nabiki says she wants a tumbler. Get a hold of me, Nabiki. We'll get you set up. I think that's about it out of me, guys. Like I said, if you are interested in getting a $50 Hatching Time gift certificate, just comment in the chat room, and we'll put you guys in the running for that. But what I want to get back to what we were saying about the hatching eggs, as far as shipping the hatching eggs. I had talked to Rebecca Lynch, and I talked to Michael Rose back when we stopped shipping, which was better than a month ago, probably a month and a half ago, just because of the heat. The heat was so extreme. Instead of, you know, you guys winning hatching eggs and then they ship them out to you and you get a poor hatch because, you know, temperature or whatnot, we decided to hold off on shipping. But I'm going to talk with Michael again this week, and hopefully by, you know, next week we can start shipping hatching eggs again. So that'll be another thing that you guys can take advantage of here on the channel. So if I forgot anything, you guys let me know. My mind has been on quail all day long today. I've been out in the shop. I've been sorting birds, trying to figure out cage organization, I guess you would say it, and what I'm going to do with that extra 140 square feet. I know I want to combine my incubator / brooder setup on one side of that new room and add a few more cages on the other side. So that'll be nice. All right. Let me go back up here and see. Underhill's in the house says, hello from Happy Funland Forever. Glad you could join us. Jessica Hughes in the house says hello from Texas. And Nabiki's joining us from Southern Oregon. Looks like I made it for once. Glad you could join us, Nabiki. Mary Howard's in the house. Says, okay, I'm waiting, and I'm still in Washington. Cool. Glad you could join us tonight, Mary. Joy Guthrie says, hello all from Western Oregon. Glad you could join us, Joy. Tony's joining us from Toronto, Canada. Glad you could join us, Tony. Dale Strong's in the house. Says, hello from Ohio. Del Choo-Choo, my buddy from Cuba's in the house. So he's in Miami now, but hello everyone. Greetings from Miami. Glad you could join us, buddy. The Birdhouse says hello from Ohio. Del Choo-Choo says amazing new video. Oh yeah, guys, we did just upload a video to the channel. It's on selecting eggs, whether it is for incubation or for if you're shipping out hatching eggs. Just kind of sharing with you the process that I use when I'm, you know, selecting eggs to ship or to incubate. I knew I saw Double R Farms, and here says, good afternoon, everyone from Birmingham, Alabama. Glad you could join us. Roberta Lakes in the house says hello from northwestern Pennsylvania. Welcome. Jessica says, oh, nice, Terry. That's quite the expansion. I really wish it could be double that, but that's all the undercover room I got. I can still expand in my aviary out back, but with the bees and everything out there, I don't know if I'd really have room for doing that. Child of God's in the house says hello. Glad you could join us. Tracy says hello from northeast Pennsylvania. Glad to see all the people joining. Yeah, it's been really slow. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. We actually had more people in Sunday's Morning Musings Evening Edition than we have so far today. And it seems to me like things are just slowing down. You know, it's that time of year. Seems to me like late summer, early fall, things start dropping off a little bit, you know, which is fine. I can understand that. You know, you got all the people up north that are, you know, getting ready for setting up for winter and whatnot. So yeah, I can understand that. And it did the same thing last year. I mean, for the most part, we usually have anywhere between, you know, 75 and 150 viewers, but yeah, it's cut way down. But that's okay. We're here for the ones that are here. Tracy Boston's in the house. It's hatching time. Got you on the list, Tracy. Child of God also says hatching time. I'm not going to read the ones that say hatching time because if I've already read your name, there's no sense in doing it. Underhill says, I'm going to use mine to get some nesting boxes for my chickens and end the daily Easter egg hunt. There you go. Choo-choo. Dawn's in the house, says hello from South Central Illinois. Welcome, Dawn. Glad you could join us. Double R Farms says hatching time is amazing. Speaking of hatching time, that's another thing I got to do. I've got a brand new 3-layer cage still in the box in the living room. I got to put that together sometime between now and whenever we get the remodeling done. But tomorrow is tear down a wall and make sure everything is studded out the way I need it, and go up and get some drywall. Del Choo Choo says, can't wait to watch that live. Yeah, if we get Chris in here, Chris is fun to do a live stream with. You know, he's one of them characters where he pretty much can answer any questions about how he keeps quail, and just really outgoing guy. I like him a lot. The Steve says, got 16 out of 36 of Southwest Game Bird chicks running around so far. Congratulations. Hope you get some more. Glenn says, hello from Michigan. Del Choo Choo says, guys, don't forget to hit that like button and share the stream. Yeah, at least hit the like button, guys. That kind of helps the algorithms, YouTube algorithms. They show more of our videos up front, you know, if we get more likes. Joy says, so bummed today, found one of my 8-week-old jumbo hens dead. When I picked her up, she felt heavy, so I weighed her and she was 13.2 ounces. Had she lived, I would have kept her as a breeder. Definitely, that's a good size hen. Sucks that you lost her, though. You know, and that happens on occasion. I lost, matter of fact, the last 2 weeks, no, actually the last 3 weeks, I lost one to being egg bound. And I didn't notice she was egg bound until after she was already dead. And then I lost one. The only thing I can figure out is she got excited and bonked her head on top of the cage because there were no other signs, you know, or any issues. The Beaky's talking to Joy. Glenn's talking to Joy. Del Choo Choo said that's an incredible incentive for kids. Yeah, I think so too. And you know, it's funny because back when we talked about doing this program, I was kind of against it. You know, I didn't really want to, you know, start doing a program like that, mainly because, you know, there's another channel that already does a giveaway for kids, and I knew if I did one that they were going to think that I was copying them, and I really didn't care for that. But there were so many great people on the Coturnix Corner community that said, you know what, do it for the kids. Don't worry about anybody else. So We did, and it's worked out really good. The kids are, it's really neat. And if you've seen any of the winners, it's really neat to hear their story and how they did their project or their program. So, yeah, we're enjoying it. Nabiki says, I'm going to have to try some eggs from Thieving Otter one day. I really like Southwest Game Birds. Yeah, Thieving Otter Farm, she has some pretty nice different color varieties. But with Southwest Game Birds being as close to you, Nabiki, I think I would, he's next state over from you, something like that. But Thieving Otter Farm does have some really nice birds. So if you want to take the chance on, that kind of shipping, that distance of shipping, you definitely be, happy with what you get from her. Joy says, no idea, but it looked like she had a broken wing, so I'm thinking she may have hit her head. Yeah, it happens. Underhill says 36 eggs, 10 hatches, 8 males. I'm cursed. Yeah, sometimes that's the way it goes. At least, you had the male problem. You can always butcher them. I had a hen issue. I was getting all hens and no roosters. And I'm like, come on, what's going on here? But I finally got my roosters that I was asking for. Glenn said I finished another quail pen last week. Cool. Don's talking to somebody else. Del Chuchu says, guys, those tumblers keep your drinks cold at all times. As someone who lives in Miami, I really appreciate something that withstands the temperatures. They really do. I use them all the time. I've got I use all these. This is actually one of my, it's a test one, but I'm out of space on it, so I use it for drinking out of. But if I'm going anywhere, I'll fill this up with, ice and a drink. And I've left them in my truck, park my truck at, middle of morning and not get back till afternoon. And it's still ice cold ice. The drink is cold. So definitely, they're definitely worth it. Nabiki said, I would love one of the tumblers. I just had a friend make a logo for me someday. Send me your logo, Nabiki. We'll get something worked out. One says, this man helped me learn all I know. Well, if you're talking about the channel, I appreciate that. But that's what the channel's here for, just to share information to help you guys out. Jessica says, what scissors do you recommend for dispatching? The ones that I use are really pricey. They're Cutco Model 77. But the nice thing about them, they're guaranteed for life. And I'm on 3 going on 4 years with this pair, and they're sharp as day one. I mean, when I'm snipping the head off the quail, it's instant. And the nice thing about them, one, you can separate them so you can wash both halves. But 2, Cutco's guarantee is amazing. If you lost one half of your scissors, they'll say send in the other half, and they'll send you out a brand new pair. If anything happens to them, no matter what, it's like buck knives. They don't care. I had a buddy of mine actually had his buck knife fall off the end of a pier. He called them and told them what happened. They sent him out a brand new knife. And I think Cutco's about the same way. I mean, you're going to pay for them. They're over $100 a pair, but to me, they're well worth it. Kimberly says, me, please. I think you're talking about the hatching time. Juan says, thank you for the knowledge, sir. Absolutely. Whatever I learn, I'll share with you guys, because you guys can learn by my mistakes. Talking to Don. The Birdhouse says, I would love to have a hatching time gift certificate. Blue Hero's in the house, says happy to catch you live. I would love a gift certificate. Okay, got a lot of people want hatching time. Hatching time has some great cages. I like the hatching time gates, guys. I mean, it's kind of like a 50-50 out there as far as people for or against hatching time cages. I've been using them. I'm going on, I think this would be my 3rd year with a hatching time cage, and I love them. And I don't know, I hear people saying, oh, the plastic's going to wear out and degrade and the wheels break. I've never had an issue with any of my cages. They work as good today as they did, the day I got them. And the nice thing about them is when you go to clean them or pressure wash them, they will look as good as they did when they first came out of the box once you pressure wash them and clean them up. So, that's nice. But I'm not going to say that I don't like wire cages, because I do. I have half of each, and but hatching time is done right by me as far as their cages. It's either AI Ram or Al Ram. Says first time raising quail 7 weeks ago. I hatched about 120 jumbo browns and whites from Southwest Game Birds. I have a few hens at 15 ounces. Super impressed. Yeah, Michael's got some really good jumbo lines. Most of his lines are, if not all of them, are the JM. I'm talking about the jumbos. Are the JMF line of jumbo browns and whites. So, yes, he does have some, and I have some in an incubator directly behind me. And my other hatching time incubator out in the other room is full right now of Southwest Game Birds JMF line. Kimberly says hello from Long Island. Facebook user says the gophers are leaving the ridge, coming in the house from all this rain. That has got to be HP Murray. I can't, for the people that are joining us on Facebook, I can't see who you are, and I can't see your little profile icon. What you'd have to do is go up to the top of that in the description of the video, and there's a link in there that you can click on and give Facebook permission to use it over here on YouTube. But no, I'm glad you could join us. If that is HP Murray, welcome HP, and glad you could join us tonight. If it's not, welcome whoever it is. Glenn says, I built a 2-foot by 8-foot pen. Can I put 10 hens and 3 roos in it? Yeah, 2 times 8 is 16 square feet. So you could go 16 times 3 or 4. And, you could probably, in an 8 by 10, I know I've had 30, 40 birds in it, no problem. So it all depends on how you want to set it up. A lot of people swear by, one is Anita Garrett from AJ Farms LLC. She does 4 birds per square foot. And I think maybe 3 on the jumbos. And that's a lot of birds, packed in that way. But you don't have any issues, with aggression or territoriality. So, yeah. It's going to be, basically however you want to set it up. Roberta Lake says, I have a question. What supplementation should I give them to avoid soft shell eggs? Just bump up the calcium a little bit. That should help. If they're not shelling the egg at all, it could be just an issue with that bird's reproductive tract. I had one hen, and I know it's not my feed. My feed's got plenty of calcium, but I also supplement occasionally if I find some soft shells where they crack easy, or they roll out and they'll get a little dent in them. If it's that type of soft, then yeah, it's going to be calcium. If it's just a totally shellless egg, it's just the rubbery membrane, then you might want to try to figure out which hen's doing it. If it happens every week, or not every week, but every time she lays, just figure out which hen it is and get that out of your breeding program. Glenn says, great video. I don't know what video you're talking about, but okay. Sazen Pins, hello from New Jersey. Still rainy here. Wow. Yeah, didn't you say it was raining Sunday? Wow, that's crazy. Another Facebook user says, hello, Terry. In your opinion, what has been the most challenging aspect of your experience with quail? If you could pick one plumage color to exclusively have, what would it be, barring Pharaoh? That's an easy question. My favorite color is the red pansy. It's a line that I've been working on for going on 2 years. About a year and a half now I've been working on it. And I will actually be offering them for sale on my website, Gulf Coast Quail, within probably the next couple months. But the most challenging aspect would probably be that same, the red pansy line. I've been trying to create a red pansy line for a while. And what happened was, about 2 or 3 years ago, I got some red pansies out of a hatch from William Carl Foster. And I only got one, and it was a rooster. And back then, I really didn't have much, genetics and breeding knowledge as far as what I had to cross to produce more red pansies. So I called William and said, can you hook me up with some more of them red pansies? And that was right about the time where he actually started getting out of quail. So he was unable to help me out there. But, with Michael Rose and a few other people, I've actually got some red pansies going. And the hardest part of that was actually to get a rooster red pansy. I got plenty of hens. I produced, I don't know, I can't even count how many, but I never got a rooster. And I finally got it straightened out with the root gene and everything. It's a little bit of work to get a rooster out of that, but I finally had it. So that was the biggest thing. That, and I would say actually deciding what variety of quail I wanted to keep, because when I first started out, all I was interested was in ferals, because like a lot of people, all I cared about was producing meat and eggs for my family. So I didn't care about colors, I didn't care about genetics, and all I kept was ferals. Then I heard, about, there's jumbo whites, so I started with jumbo whites, and then I got into some jumbo Italians, and I kind of, messed around with a few different color varieties, and then along came Allie from Maine's Confetti Quail Farm, and between her and Klaus Marshall of Paradise Quail, they got me interested in genetics and some of the different color varieties, and I kind of I leaned that way for a while, but now I'm kind of back to where I won't say where I started from. I'm doing Pharaohs, Jumbo Pharaoh, Jumbo Italian or Jumbo Egyptian, and then my Jumbo Red Pansy line. And that's pretty much what I'm sticking with for now. But I will say that I've got some eggs in the incubator from Rebecca, which are outside of them lines, but I'm actually going to use those birds that hatch out to improve my red pansies. So that was kind of a long-winded answer, but Jay Bennett says, hey there, glad I could catch a live. Glad you could join us. I have a question about egg-bound quail. Any way to help her out? There's a few things that I've heard you could do, and I've only done one once, and it actually worked. I actually took the quail and soaked her in a warm, kind of a sitz bath, I guess you'd call it. It was basically just warm water that I put in one of my little plastic feeders, that have the holes cut out inside all the way around. Filled it up with warm water, put her in there, put the top on it, and made her kind of sit in that for, 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, and she actually laid the egg. I have heard of people, and I don't know if this works or not, putting like a lubricant around her vent to try to help her pass the egg, but I don't even mess with egg-bound hens anymore. If I notice I have an egg-bound hen, I will, I'll give her a minute to, try to pass the egg. But if she doesn't, I usually call them, get them out of it, because, I don't want that. I don't want, especially if you have hens that are notorious for laying oversized eggs. A lot of times they can become egg-bound, and I just don't want that in my program. As a matter of fact, that the video that we just did about the selecting eggs, I think I mentioned something in there about staying away from oversized eggs. Actually, eggs over, I don't keep anything over 17 grams as far as egg size or egg weight. And especially when I'm hatching out eggs for myself. When I'm hatching out eggs for myself, I prefer the eggs to be between either 15 or 16 grams and all, a nice shape to it. I don't like pointy eggs, and I don't like really rounded eggs. Both. I want a nice, average shaped egg. But anyhow, watch the video and you'll see what I mean. Let's see. Bill Thompson's in the house. It's good evening from rainy Pennsylvania. Boy, everybody up north's getting rain. Well, actually, we had rain too last night, but it was during the evening, so didn't care. Dragon Girl's in the house. Says hello from Washington State. Kimberly Malone says, hatching time, okay. I wish I knew what that said, if it was AI or AL. I think it's AL. Where I'm picking my brood fowl up Oh, on the 8-week mark. Cool. Roberta says, thank you for the info. We are new to raising birds. Absolutely. Like I say, Coturnix Corner started out as a beginner channel. We were geared towards the people that were just getting into quail, because back when I started the channel, I was just getting into quail. I mean, I have a lot of poultry experience. I've raised poultry my entire life, chickens and ducks and geese and whatnot, and turkeys, but I've never had quail. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to put a channel out there and just kind of document what I'm doing, if it helps people find. If not, whatever. And I am still utterly surprised at where Coturnix Corner went. I mean, we're at 52,000 subscribers right now on YouTube, like 39 or 40,000 over on Facebook. Who'd have thunk it, Let's see. Samantha says, missed you Sunday. Samantha, it's because we went live Sunday evening. We did morning musings, PM edition, only because I was too late getting going in the morning. Backyard Quail Keepers says, hi Terry, I'm getting ready for winter, converting a large hutch for my birds to keep them warm. Cool. Yeah, basically, I mean, they can handle the cold. That's not the issue. As long as you've got a way for them to get out of the weather. Obviously you don't want them in direct wind, because that can be, the wind chill alone could kill them. But yeah, if they can get out of the weather, and stay dry, they'll do just fine. I'm going to say Al, because I don't think you're AI, but got a 60% hatch rate from my Southwest game bird order, despite the eggs being shipped on the hottest days of the year, and the fact that I didn't wait 24 hours for the eggs to settle. That's good. That's a good hatch rate. I mean, I figure anything over 50% on shipped eggs is good. I mean, I've got terrible hatches on shipped eggs. I've also got really good hatches. So, and you didn't wait on the fact, or you didn't wait for the eggs to settle 24 hours. Yeah, that's kind of important. What I've been doing lately is, when I get the eggs in, instead of like putting them on a counter pointy side down, I'll actually put them in an egg turner, put them in the incubator, and start incubating them. But I won't plug the turner in for 12 to 24 hours. So basically they're starting to incubate, but they're just not turning. That still allows that air cell, at least in my mind, to rise up and settle in place. Bill says, out of my 5-month-olds, I've lost 2, one unexplained, head bump, very possible, and one I tried to help with a prolapse, and it puked and died. Yeah, like I say, the prolapse I really don't even mess with anymore. Head bunks can be, pretty common, especially if your birds spook real easy, like if you walk in your quail room, or I don't know if you said if yours were outside or not, but if they can spook, a predator, cat or whatever walks by, sometimes that'll scare them. But I've got a lot of traffic going through my quail room. Me and my wife she has to go through the quail room to get to her laundry room, so she's constantly going through there, and she does all the cleaning in the morning, so they're used to her, and I come through and I do all the feeding and sorting and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think they'll get used to you if you're around them enough. But quail that are like the ones that I keep out in the aviary, I didn't spend a whole lot of time with them, because basically I was just growing them out. And about the time I go out there and unlock the door and open it up, they're flushing like bob whites, and it's crazy. Underhill says, both my females managed to injure themselves and they don't lay. I need to start over. Oh, that kind of sucks. Mary says, the kids applying for the kids projects are really fun to read about. Yep, absolutely. Mary is actually one of our judges for the Coturnix Kids Project, and they like I say, they go through and keep an eye on all the submissions, and once a month they'll select one, send to me, and Glenn says, I'm looking for a good used incubator. Any ideas where to get one? I mean, other than checking places like Craigslist, um, here's the problem with the used incubators. You don't know how well, it holds temperature or humidity, if it has any other issues with it, without testing it out first. To be honest with you, if I were you, I would spend a little bit more money and get something new that at least you've got a little bit of a warranty period on it. And, I mean, you really, I'm gonna plug this incubator behind me again just because it's done so well. That little dome thing that you see right there, it's called a Van Pope Hubs. We actually did a video on it, and when they contacted me, they reached out to me probably a good 6 to 8 months ago, asking me if I would test out that incubator and review it, and I declined. I told them, I said, no, I'm sorry, I don't review entry level stuff just because I don't want somebody to purchase an entry level incubator or brooder or whatever and have bad results with it. And she said, I'll tell you what. I mean, they were pretty persistent about getting me one. They said, let me send you one, test it out. If you like it, fine. If not, ship it back, throw it in the garbage, whatever you want to do. But if I liked it, if I would do a review on it or mention it on the channel. I'm on my 4th hatch with that thing right now, and it's getting on my eggs now. I haven't done shipped eggs in them yet, but I'm getting about an 85 to 90% hatch rate on it every time. It holds the temperature great. Well, watch the video. There's it's one of the more recent videos that we did on the channel, and they've got them on sale right now. I think you can pick them up for like 79 or 89 bucks. And also they come with, well, it'll hold 24 eggs with the turner that comes with it, but they actually made that's why I can't find it. It's in the incubator. They've got a turner that will do 60 quail eggs, and that works really good. But yeah, and the reason I think this incubator does so well is it is almost a duplicate of the Brinzia 24, and Brinzia's a real good name in incubators. So, you might be able to get a Chinese knockoff of a Brinzia really cheap. Nabiki says, logo image sent. I need to get it transferred to my computer and play with the fonts to complete it. Cool. Absolutely. And HP Murray's in the house says, it was me. I figured it out by your cryptic message there, HP. That's cool. Scott says, can the double yolk eggs hatch? I've only had one double yolker hatch, and it was one chick, 4 legs. And what happened was the bigger chick or the stronger chick absorbed the second chick, but it was funny looking, and I took some video of it and I posted it online. But he was running around fine and eating fine and everything, but he had 2 extra back legs hanging out behind his 2 that were working. So I didn't keep it. I wasn't gonna try to grow out something like that, but I ended up culling it. But yeah, it hatched. It would have been twins had it not absorbed the second egg or the second yolk. Mary's in the house says, I'm getting ready to turn my incubator on to run the test and get it started. I haven't hatched since before I had my heart surgery, and I'm having withdrawals. Should have Southwest game birds by next week. Cool. Well, we're going to wish you a good hatch, Mary. I know you'll get one. Don says, I know you don't set pointy eggs, but what is the reason? Is that they get splay leg from being so tight in the shell? No, I mean, that's not the reason that I don't set pointy eggs. I like uniformity. When I'm selecting eggs, I like everything to be uniform. And I don't have an egg here to show you, but I think if you look at your eggs, you can tell the ones that are really pointy or really rounded. I don't like them, and I don't select them. And I think the main reason that I see issues with splay leg, now this is directly out of the egg, splay leg or clenched fist, is because they were in the egg too long. They were either incubated at a little bit cooler temperatures, spent too much time in the egg, and that's what ended up causing it. If they're getting splay leg, outside of the egg once they've hatched, it's usually because the surface is too slick, and they end up doing the splits and tearing whatever muscle that is in there. Nabiki said, Dr. Scott says it's extremely rare. I've known one person who got both embryos to fully develop, but they weren't able to hatch. Yeah, that would be an issue. Like I say, that the one that I hatched out just absorbed the second chick. Egg selection video, absolutely, Glenn. Al says, I'm hoping to save up to buy one of the massive hatching time setter hatcher incubators. I got a 120 egg incubator, and they worked amazingly. I hope to raise enough quail each year to live off of. Cool. Yeah. You cannot go wrong with a hatching time incubator. I actually have the CT series, the smallest one, the CT60, that I use for an incubator. But I also have the HT series 350. It's a 48-inch tall, I think that's how tall it is, box just for hatching out eggs. So, and it's nice. I think it'll hold, they say 1,000 quail eggs, but I think it's closer to like 660 just because of the size of the eggs. And I don't really overpack the hatching trays. Those red pansies have interesting ears. I didn't even notice that until you mentioned it on the last live. They do have the feathering's a little bit lighter around the ears, and I don't know if that's a trait or if it's just a few of them have that. So I don't know. Though Chuchu says, can't wait to create an Oreo line between English whites and black. I think Rebecca's beat you to it. She's got the banded blacks, which is the white filling and the top and bottom are black. I wish I had a picture of it. They're really neat looking, but I'm gonna have to mention that to her, see if she knows that's an Oreo line. Oh, and laying celadon egg. Boy, you're not getting picky there, are you? Birdhouse says, are your red pansies jumbo size? They are. I would love to order some, hopefully in a couple months. Well, in a couple months is about when they should be on the website. They originated from, I'll give you the breakdown on them. They originated from Southwest Game Birds' regular jumbo pansy line, and then I crossed them with jumbo Egyptians, and that's how we got the Egyptian line. But I will tell you that I'm working on improving the color just a little bit. I want it a little bit warmer than what it is right now. So I am mixing in another variety of quail as soon as this new variety hatches out. But yeah, keep an eye on the website. You'll see it. We'll have the regular red pansies will be on there within the next month or two. Al says, I would love to get into those black quail. Get a hold of Rebecca Lynch. She has a waiting list, but I think she said she's going through the waiting list pretty quick. I see on Facebook all the time she posts the order numbers of the people that are being shipped out next. So it looks like she's getting through them numbers pretty quick. Nabiki says, I would love the black ones too. They are pretty cool. Rebecca sent me some to do like a test hatch, and I believe it was one of her first out-of-state shipments. She was doing like a NPIP shipment test, and anyhow, I hatched them out. They were really neat birds. I got some really nice solid black ones, but again, I can only fall in love with so many varieties until I gotta decide what do I want to do. Do I want to concentrate on one or two varieties and have enough to be able to offer hatching eggs, or do I want to go whole hog and raise every color I can find, but not be able to offer any significant numbers of one variety? Wow, it's already 10 to 8. How time flies. Nabiki says, for eggbound, a warm Epsom salt bath can really help. There you go. Yeah, I didn't use the Epsom salts. I just used warm water. But like I say, I don't even try to save egg-bound hens anymore, just due to the fact there was an issue why they became egg bound. So Doug Chuchu says it can be fatal trying to help an egg bound hen. Absolutely, I've experienced more egg bound issues during the high temperatures. Okay, yeah, I know. I think I read it on one of the Facebook groups. Somebody said something about squeeze the egg till it breaks and it'll help her pass it. But then I read a whole bunch of people came back and said, no, you'll kill the bird if you do that. So, not talking to me, not talking to me. Model T Zombie says, I am done, lost all my babies, eyes swelled up and died within a week. Might try again later. Okay, if you have an eye swelling up and they all die within a week, something, were these really young chicks? Sounds to me like something in the brooder was, wasn't right. Whether it was an issue with whatever you were using with as a substrate. I know another girl, she was in the group. She actually got out of quail too, but she used cedar chips, I think it was, and it had the same issue. Birds were dropping left and right. These are chicks, like 3-4 day old chicks, and I never realized what the problem was until she took a picture and sent it to me. And I said, is that cedar in the bottom of your brooder? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, that's most likely that was your issue. So, yeah, I would definitely look into something that was in your brooder that they didn't like. I don't think I've ever had an issue with their eyes swelling up. Okay, Bill Thompson says, my 10-day-olds are still on blue towels. When do you take the towels out and put them on half-inch wire? By 10 days, all my birds are out of the brooder and on wire, and the wire is 1/2 by 1. But what I do in my brooders, I use fine pine shavings. When I take them out of the brooder at 10 days old or 14 days old, within that little time frame, they go into a all-wire cage. But I put down a couple pieces of shop towel or paper towel, and then I'll set the trough feeder right on top of that. That way they can still feel the wire through the shop towel or the paper towel, and get their feet used to walking on wire. But also it helps them to feel a little bit more reassured that they've got a stable footing. And that's worked well for me for a few years. I've been doing that for a couple of years now. Well, like I say, I don't know where you're at, Bill. By the looks of your profile icon, you're somewhere cold. I see snow. But anyhow, by 10 days old, down here in Florida, it's warm enough for them. They're off the light and, into the brooders. Into the wire pins. Saz Pin says, I did the same, started with Jumbo Brown from a great local breeder, got interested in colors, especially the Fee. Now I'm breeding Fab Fees and Pearl Fees from Southwest Game Birds Eggs. Very cool. Yeah, and colors are really neat. Learning genetics, and when I say genetics, I don't mean, the really in-depth genetic stuff. I mean just enough to understand where the different color varieties, come from, and what recipes you can use to breed, like she says, different color varieties here, the Pearl Fees and Fab Fee and whatnot. It's really interesting. And I actually had someone, was it last week? I think it was last week, messaged me and said that they were thinking of getting away from colors altogether because they were in a group and probably asked a stupid question or a really basic question, and people made them feel bad, and it just, it was a question that, how do I put this? It was a question that anybody that has any kind of genetics background would think, well, that's kind of stupid. Anybody knows that. But, you got to remember, not everybody knows that. And I told them that. I said, just because somebody knows genetics doesn't make them a better quail breeder than you. It's how you take care of the birds, and whatnot. Yeah, genetics are neat and whatnot, but that doesn't make you, the best quail breeder out there because you understand genetics. And I'm trying to, believe me. I like to know as much as I can, whether I'm, really interested in it or not. Glenn says, thank you for the advice on the incubator. Absolutely. Mary says, talking to Glenn, says, spend the money and buy a new one. I went used, ended up losing that money, having to spend the money to buy a new one. I wish I could have bought the one Terry's talking about. Man, Mary, you should have let me know. I could have got you in on that test thing. You would have got one for nothing. Let's see. Nabiki says, in my experience, if the humidity is too high during incubation, I end up with more splay leg chicks. Okay. Humidity is something I deal with it pretty much every day. I mean, I have to do a dry hatch just because the humidity in my relative humidity in the room where my incubator is always above 50%, which puts it at about a dry hatch puts it anywhere between 35 and 40% with no water in the incubator. And then when I go to lockdown, I'll just add one 16-ounce bottle of water in a 10 by 12 tray, and it brings it up to 60, 65, and those numbers work well for me. Alicia says, question, what room temperature do you recommend when you have young chicks in the brooder? I use heat plates to keep them warm till they're fully feathered, but I haven't hatched any in the winter before. Room temperature, I mean, I would try to keep the room, at least 70 degrees. The warmer the better. It's just going to make it a little bit easier on the chicks. But using the heat plates, I really don't like those. And I'll tell you why. The heat plates, especially in a cold environment, the chicks are going to stay under it all the time. They're not going to come out to eat or drink, and they're going to want to stay in the heat plate. And to get that heat plate warm enough to warm them up, you've got to have it basically to where they can touch their backs on it. And I've actually had a girl send me pictures. She couldn't figure out what was happening. She thought the birds were losing feathers. And I told her, your birds are burnt. Their back was rubbing up against the bottom of that heat plate trying to stay warm, and you actually burn the chick down right off the back of the birds. But anyhow, back to your question. Anything that's like 70, 75, 80 will be fine. My shop regularly gets up to 90 degrees, and I still have a 100-watt heat lamp on all my brooders. If you're in a really cool room, like say 50 degrees. Matter of fact, my brother-in-law, he's got birds outside, which regularly drop down. He's in Michigan, drops down below 50, and with a heat lamp they do just fine. So yeah, I mean, just watch the chicks. If the chicks are happy, if they're all around the brooder, and they're not all bunched up in one corner, or they're not all bunched underneath the heat plate, or far away from the heat plate, let the chicks tell you, if you've got the temperatures right. Bass says, hello Terry, I have 5 11-week wild hens, but still haven't given me a single egg. You have any idea what might be? Okay, when you say wild hens, are you saying that they are the Pharaoh variety, Pharaoh color variety, your standard Pharaohs? 11 weeks, I mean, I've had birds that will go 12 weeks before they lay an egg. But usually, for the most part, I get my eggs anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks. If they don't start laying, it's usually an issue, like a stress issue with the birds. You could have predators coming around at night that they're, it's spooking them, so they don't want to lay. Do you have daylight hours? 14 to 16 hours of daylight. Right now, with time starting to cut back, you may have to extend that time a little bit with artificial lighting. But the first thing I would make sure, if you've got the lighting, then I would definitely lean towards issues with a threat. The birds are being stressed out one way or another, and that could be something as simple as if your birds are outside, maybe you've got a neighborhood cat coming by, or raccoons, whatever. So anything like that can kind of stress them out to where they don't want to lay. Underhill says, I got an all black male in my winter eggs. Very cool. Nabiki says, I need to start making dinner. I'm making Thai larb tonight. I don't know what that is. I'll watch the rest of the video later. Absolutely. Thanks for joining us tonight, Nabiki. Always appreciate it. Underhill says, Birdos and fumes do not go well together. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, my neighbor, he got some hatching eggs for me, and it was for his granddaughter. She hatched them out, and I built her a really nice cage for outside, and she, grew the birds up, put them out there in the pen, and he was up there one weekend. They were burning a bunch of brush and stuff, and he wasn't real far from the quail, and I guess the wind was kind of blowing it towards the quail, and it turns out the brush that he was burning was poisonous. It was Brazilian pepper, which is, it's toxic, and it killed all her birds, or it killed a bunch of the birds. So, yep. ARM says, as the days get closer to Butcher Day, I dream for frequently of cherry smoked quail. Cool. Then I take those quail and create enchiladas with you. Sounds good to me. Michael, do you know of a good Florida feed supplier? Current plan is Tractor Supply if I can't support local. I'm not sure exactly where you are. I know you just ordered some eggs from me. Tractor Supply will be fine. I mean, you can use the Game Bird starter with it's Purina Game Bird starter, 30%. I used that for years, never had any issues with it. Put them on that until they start laying eggs. Once your hens start laying, switch them over to Leina, and it's basically a 16% protein layer feed, also made by Purina. I've used both for years, and they work just fine. If you do find a local feed store, if they can get Kalmbach, that's a really good feed. It's a mom and pop company that make it, and had really good results with it. The closest feed store that it's a real mill is over by Lake Okeechobee on the north side of the lake. They can hook you up, but they want you to buy in volume, so that might not work out for you. Mary says, hey everyone, hit the like button. Absolutely. We got 49 people watching and 41 likes. I'll take that. That's not bad. Kurt says, what time is it? It's 8:03. I still got to go eat. Kurt says, question, I have about 25-week-old chicks that I'm considering adding to a group of 20 established adults. Would I cause a bloodbath, or do you think they'll sort it out? I would actually give them a little bit more time. The problem with you run into with putting younger birds in with older birds, the older roosters are going to terrorize the younger hens. All they're thinking about is breeding, and yeah, that might not work out for you. You can try it. I mean, 5 weeks old, 6 week old, they're going to start laying anyhow. So maybe introduce a few of them at a time just to see how the 20 birds are. They is it a cage setup, or is it something a little bit more natural, like an aviary type setup? If I was to do that, if I was to take birds, I got an established group out in my aviary, and I had some young grow-outs here that I want to take out. I would probably introduce them one later in the evening, so they've got nighttime to. When they wake up in the morning, they don't know who's new, and also make sure you've got plenty of hides to where they can get away from each other. If it's a cage setup, maybe keep your birds per square foot numbers really up there. That way, the younger birds can kind of blend in with the rest, and hide from them and whatnot. So, yeah, I normally don't mix birds of different ages, unless 6 weeks, 7 weeks, that's fine. But you got established adults that are already breeding. They've got breeding groups set up. I would be a little bit careful on that one. Doe Choo Choo says, Terry, the line about picking color and sticking with it, so true. It can be easy to get lost in all the colors. Absolutely. And the funny thing is they're all the exact same bird underneath, But the colors are nice. Sometimes it's nice to go out there and, see a different colored bird, especially if it's a color that you really like. Funny thing is I like the standard pharaohs. If I could get a clean pharaoh line going, I would be totally happy with them. Bill says, I'm in southern Pennsylvania, but my profile picture was taken on Mount Katahdin, Maine. The snow when I finished the Appalachian Trail. Oh, don't talk about the Appalachian Trail. I for anybody that's been watching the channel, I watched this movie with Robert Redford and Nick Nolte. It's called A Walk in the Woods. Two old guys go up on the trail and they have a good old time. Great movie. And like an idiot, I'm an old guy. I'm like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So I've been kind of playing with the idea of next spring, maybe, going up to Georgia somewhere and, hike for a few days, just see how it goes. But then again, I don't know. Another crazy idea we got, me and my neighbor were both partial pilots. We had a little bit of flying experience when we were young. We're getting into ultralights now. He wants me to either build him one or go in and buy one together, and I don't know. That sounds like that could be a little dangerous, but it'd be fun. Wendell says, hi everyone, got here late, had to do rehab exercises for the wife's new knee. Well, that's good of you to help your wife out. Glad you could join us, Wendell. Really appreciate it. Underhill says, is breeding all kinds of colors together a dead end, or will you end up with crazy looking quail? That's where it really helps to start getting an idea on genetics, because everything works back to pharaoh. You can start out, you can have Italians, you can have Italians with the Rouge gene, with Phi gene, and you start mixing and matching. You're just going to get other stuff start popping out, and for the most part, there are already varieties that are recognized. Yeah, you might get stuff that is like a Rosetta with an Italian base in it. Yeah, there's some crazy stuff comes out of there, but you can always bring it right back to figuring out what it was by breeding back to pharaoh. So I think pretty much most of the colors varieties that people are working on, I mean that could be wrong in this too, but most of the new colors have already been had. Somebody's already been breeding towards them. Mary says, no question is stupid. People have to remember that if you don't know, someone has to be the teacher. I ask questions all the time. I mean, that's the only way to find out, what it is. And thanks for that comment, Mary. That's absolutely true. Robert says, questions. I want jumbo, but also color. My Shire Farm has a jumbo color mix. Your thoughts? Anyone else have a jumbo color mix? Okay, well, any line or any color variety can be made to be a jumbo. That's just selective breeding. So I think what you're getting from my Shire is just going to be a variety of already established. Like you're probably going to get jumbo pharaohs, jumbo Egyptians, jumbo Italians. I don't know what all colors Zach works with, but yeah, you're just going to get a mix of a bunch of different jumbo colors. As long as that's if that's what you want, go for it. That's fine. The way I look at it now is I decide what color I want, then I worry about getting it in a jumbo size or breeding for a jumbo size. Double R Farm says, caring for quality better than genetics. Yeah, quality is, to me, that's the number one thing. Genetics is kind of tricky because you can get, and I'm not going to mention any names, but you could get birds that are, say, such and such a color variety, and you hatch it out, and now you're getting multiple color varieties where it should have been 100% true, that color variety. So yeah, I mean, genetics are nice. It's amazing some of the stuff you can do with quail with the genetics, but I wouldn't let genetics keep you from doing the lack of genetics knowledge keep you from doing a certain variety or or even keeping quail. Some people think, if I don't know genetics, how can I keep quail? You can. Joe Tucci says, question, with all the new cages you've made / purchased, what's the capacity for your quail in your quail room? We are working to be able to hold 500 hens, 500 breeders. Before it was 300. So by expanding the room, expanding the quail room, and all these new cages we're putting together, we would like to get 500 breeder hens. Underhill says, I didn't have any problems with the heat plate for chicken or quail, but I guess it depends on the brand. I've got a brand spanking new one sitting down here. It's made by, I can't remember. It's from Holland. And yeah, it's supposed to be a really nice one. And I used it twice, maybe. And a lot of people use them. And I'm not saying that they're no good. I'm just saying that I don't like them because I like the birds to be able to come and go from the heat, or thermoregulate themselves more. Like with a heat lamp, they can get away from the heat, or they can, get with a heating plate. You got to keep one end lower, one end higher in order for them to thermoregulate underneath that. I guess you've got to set up right. They would work, but it's just they're not my favorites. Not talking to me. Double R Farm says, do you start layer feed at a certain age or wait till you see the first egg? Usually when I see the first egg, that is my reminder to switch that cage, whether the rest of the hens are laying or not, over to layer feed. And what I'll usually do is, I see the first egg. If the trough already has, starter in it, I'll just sprinkle a little bit of layer on top of that, let them eat that down a little bit further, sprinkle some more to just kind of ease them into the layer feed. I don't just dump out the starter and then fill it up with layer. Kind of make it an easy transition for them. Creekside Homestead says, have you seen eggs within eggs? I have. I have had it happen twice in recent days. Yeah, that was really weird. I was making breakfast and I snipped the end of the egg off with my quail egg scissors, and inside there was another egg. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Underhill says, my local feed store will make whatever nutritional mix I want. I'm not sure what to ask for. Underhill, join us October 18th. Jeff Maddox is a nutritionist. He's already been on the show once, if you want to go back and look for that one. But he will be on here on the 18th, and he'll be answering all kinds of questions on, different feeds, nutritional values, how to blend your own feeds, stuff like that. So, yeah, good live stream for you to catch. ARM says, I come from the weird heritage chicken world, and I'm loving this quail thing so far. Cool. Yeah, I came from the chicken world myself. Billy Bell says, no one talks about the German sparkly. Yeah, they do. I got my first ones from William Carl Foster, but H.P. Murray's, he's got them. Kurt says, thanks, Terry, on advice about mixing young and old birds. The 5-week and adults are outside in a cage setup, getting shorter days and colder up here in Minnesota already, so just considering combining for the winter. Yeah, I guess if they were mine, I guess what I would do is I would let the 5-week, I would grow them out to 8 weeks to where they're pretty much considered adults, and then just try to ease them in that way. I'd hate to see you put a bunch of young birds in and have them get tore up by the older birds. Kurt says, I really like Southwest Game Bird sparkly birds. Yep, I believe his sparkly line originated from William Carl Foster. I'm not 100% sure on that. So. ARM says, Shamo Chicken, Ayami, Sarami, American Game, Old English, Mini Game Files. Cool. I'm not talking to me. JJ Willis's question, I've been breeding the same group for 5 months, and out of the blue, I have a blue egg. How can this be? Are you sure it's not an unmarked egg? 'Cause I've had that happen too, to where I've got a group of hens that our normal egg layers, and then you go out there one morning and you see this bluish green egg, or really light bluish green egg. I didn't really consider that to be a celadon, more or less just a discolored egg. But I don't know, if it continues, then it's very possible that you have a hen that's carrying the celadon gene, and she just hasn't been laying up until now. I don't know. One says, Billy Bell, the German sparklies from Southwest game birds are awesome, large, and very docile. Nice. That's right, Wendell, I forgot you had them. Not talk to me. From a chicken breeder perspective, I've always been taught that you focus on quality of the individual animal you purchase and breed best to best. At the end of the day, no one knows 100%. Yeah, and that's pretty much my whole breeding program is I try to never go backwards, unless it's something that I can't, like I have to go backwards. Like, say I'm breeding for size, but I got a really nice rooster with the color that I want, but he's a little underweight. Yeah, I'll use him to get that color and then worry about bringing the size back up. And same with color variety. If I've got, a bird, or with weight, if I've got birds that aren't making weight, they're not in the program. When I'm working on my jumbos, and I've had it happen, not recently, but in the past, I hatched out a bunch of what I considered were going to be my new breeders, and I started weighing them, and maybe 30% of them made jumbos. So I actually ordered hatching eggs from someone else and got a new line going from them. But yeah, definitely always breed better. Every generation should increase your lines a little bit better every single generation, or at least not go backwards. Okay, skip that. Gotta get going here pretty quick, guys. Orlando says, hello, my jumbo white wings just started hatching 20 minutes ago. So excited. Congratulations and good luck on the hatch. Birdhouse says, William Carl Foster still raise quail. I found your video with him in it the other day, and it was pretty interesting. If he does, he's doing it on such a small scale that, he's not shipping or selling hatching eggs. I don't believe he is. Him and his wife really got into running coon dogs, and they do that quite a bit. So I think William is out of quail, at least for for a while. Anthony says, question, I know daylight is dwindling, and that's probably the main culprit to my girls' very low egg production, but is it possible putting my grow outs in a cage below them where they can't see them? Stress. No, I wouldn't think so, because I've got all my cage setups are 3 tiers, and I've got layers in one level, and young grow out males underneath them, and layers underneath, and they just keep laying. I would definitely get your daylight hours right now. That way it's not a daylight issue. And then if they're still having issues, look into stress somewhere in the environment. And by stress, it doesn't have to necessarily be, an animal stress, like a cat or a dog or a wild animal. Heat, too much heat can cause stress. So, yeah, just, try to get your environment right, get your daylight hours right, and, hopefully you can figure it out. Anthony's questions, them out I noticed, also mating, but it's been a month of low production. Wait. Stress them out, I noticed they're also mating. It's been also a month of low production. Yeah, well, the roosters are most likely going to want to breed regardless. They don't care. They want to breed. So, yeah, if your hens aren't producing any eggs, something isn't right. It's either lighting, stress, it's something in the environment that they don't like. And yes, I'm working on a solar light waiting for some parts. Thank you. Okay. Well, I mean, while you're waiting for parts, if they're outside, run an extension cord out and put maybe put it on a timer with some lights on it. I got all mine. I'm on a 16-hour day with my birds. Oh, molting, not mating. Yeah, I never even thought about that to ask if they were molting. Well, if they're molting, that's definitely going to affect egg production. I mean, I've had I've had birds that start molting and completely go off lay, for up to a month before they start laying again. So that's a very possible one right there. All right. I have to go back up here and select a winner for the Hatching Time gift certificate. And I already had someone picked out, but I can't find. I think it was way up at the top. All right, Kimberly Malone, if you're still in the house, you are getting the $50 Hatching Time gift certificate. I need you to send me your information. Basically, all I need from you, Kimberly, is a good email address, because that's how Hatching Time sends it to you. So you're going to send it to Terry at coturnixcorner.com. And I just put my email address in the chat room. Let's see if it popped up. But while I'm doing this, guys, I just want to remind you that next week, Sunday, if I can get it worked out, we will get Chris Carnes in here. Yeah, Terry at coturnixcorner.com. We'll get Chris Carnes in here, and we're going to talk about the differences in keeping quail outdoors versus keeping them inside, kind of like I do. So I think that's going to be really interesting. And what on earth did I do? Why is that over here? Okay. I think that's going to be a really interesting live. It's called Morning Musings. Starts at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. Also, don't forget to join us next week, Tuesday, a week from today. We will be announcing the winner of the Coturnix Kids program. So that's always a really interesting one. And maybe if I can come up with a guest that wants to join us on Tuesday, we'll bring them in there and let somebody else answer questions instead of me. So, guys, I don't see any more questions, and I think I'm going to pull the plug so I can go in and make me something to eat, kick back and watch some TV, because I got a really busy day tomorrow. We're out in the shop first thing in the morning. A wall's coming down. I got to install a new air conditioner. I got cages to move, cages to build. Just busy, busy, busy. So, guys, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Hope to see you guys on Sunday. And if not, we will join you. We'll see you on Tuesday. But definitely Sunday. Why on earth is that popping up there? I must drug that down, absolutely. Anthony says, pretty new to Quail Live. Your videos help me tremendously, so thank you for putting up the content. Absolutely. Appreciate you joining us. And, Nabikia, you're already gone. So, anyhow, everybody have a great day, great week, and we'll see you next week. Or we'll see you on Sunday. Bye.